weird NPCs, gigantic spiders, and a severe lack of consequences. Like any other game, Hogwarts Legacy has its share of issues. In this video, I'm going to discuss the top 10 updates that we need to see for Hogwarts Legacy this year. Make sure to keep watching until the end of the video to see which parts of Hogwarts Legacy Avalanche desperately needs to update. One of the biggest RPG elements that's missing from Hogwarts Legacy is consequences. Consequences from your dialogue options as well as consequences from your actions. Sadly, there aren't many quests where your choices will alter what happens next. The most notable, more so than the main story in my opinion, is Sebastian's quest. Your choices had an effect on where Sebastian's story ultimately ended, as well as giving you the choice to learn the unforgivable curses. Now, Hogwarts Legacy also has no real consequences for your actions. For example, there is no cost to using the unforgivable curses at all. It's a bit strange when you know what happens to Sebastian after using a curse, but for the player it's no big deal to go around casting Avada Kedavra in combat or even on NPCs. It would be really cool to implement something like receiving a letter from the Ministry and having a morality meter. Another area where they could implement consequences to make the world feel more real is in Hogwarts during the nighttime. There should be prefects walking around, and if you're running around the castle in the night, it would be more fun to have to try and sneak past the prefects. An update that adds more consequence elements into the game will definitely make it feel more immersive. NPCs. One of the most notable problems Hogwarts Legacy has is the NPCs, and there is more than one issue here. The lack of dialogue from the NPCs as you're walking around is very noticeable, and it does take away from the immersion. To demonstrate, there's many places throughout Hogwarts where you can find a group of NPCs standing talking to each other. If you look closely, you can actually see their mouths moving, but with no sound at all. It just looks really weird and doesn't make for a great Hogwarts experience when you can't hear your fellow classmates. If you go to one of the more populated areas in the castle like Central Hall, you will hear a few NPCs speak, but it's still only a handful. If you compare this to a game like The Witcher 3 that does NPCs so well, you can really see the difference. There's also not many NPCs that have the option to go up and talk to them randomly. I would have loved to chat to Deke about something other than the type of ambience in the Room of Requirement, but that was the only option outside of main quests when he had set dialogue. These issues do just bring you out of the immersion, which is such a shame considering it's such a beautiful world, and I could go on for hours about how much I love the castle in Hogwarts Legacy. So, an update on the NPC dialogue would be, I think, a literal game changer. The third update we need to see in Hogwarts Legacy is the NPC's reactiveness. NPCs in Hogwarts Legacy unfortunately do not react to much. When you cast any spells near or even aim at students or NPCs in the Highlands, they do not move or make a sound. Especially when using damage spells, I was expecting something. But if you are evil enough to try Avada Kedavra, they will kind of just flop on the floor, so they do at least react to that. But just having NPCs more reactive to combat, and even when you run into them, would make a massive difference and help make that open world experience even more immersive. Now, I promise this is the last point about NPCs, but it's a really important one. An update that I think is crucial is fixing the character models. It can't just be me that's noticed this, but the same character model has been used so many times within such a small area within Hogwarts. For example, in the courtyard, you can see the exact same female character next to each other, but in different house robes. If you move further down the courtyard, you can see the same character model being used another 2 times in the same group in the same small area. It gets a little bit repetitive after a while, and after a lot of hours in the game, it can get frustrating seeing the same characters over and over again. Moving on from the general NPCs in the game, let's talk about the companions. Sebastian, Natsai and Poppy. Now, I did enjoy their quests, especially Sebastian's, but I don't think I'm alone in saying that they do not feel like like companions. In Harry Potter, there's such a strong theme of friendship and relationships. That's what connects a lot of people to the franchise, but I've got to say it was lacking in Hogwarts Legacy. Let's not forget that Ravenclaws don't even get a companion, as you only do one quest with a mate. I know it's obviously a century before Harry's time, but I thought those themes would have been incorporated a little bit more. So, an update I think a lot of players would love is having the companions actually be companions. For me, they didn't play a big enough role in the game to warrant the title companion. It would be amazing to have the option for a companion to accompany you whilst you explore or complete any quests. They could act as a partner in combat and offer some great dialogue that helps you connect more with that character. Now, this is hands down my biggest issue with Hogwarts Legacy and is the most important update that we desperately need to see this year. Avalanche, if you are listening, please make an official arachnophobia mode for Hogwarts Legacy. If you're like me and are genuinely terrified of big spiders, then many parts of Hogwarts Legacy will not be a pleasant experience. Don't get me wrong, I applaud Avalanche for sticking to the lore because we know there are great deadly big spiders in the Forbidden Forest. However, I cannot understand why Avalanche felt the need to include gigantic spiders in multiple different main quests that we have to do, as well as just being scattered around the map. Eventually I could deal with the smaller ones, but the big ones, honestly guys, I was petrified and it was not fun at all. Without the support from my Twitch chat, I would not have got through it. The ridiculous amount of spiders are not necessary at all, and it can just be a little bit overwhelming if you have a genuine fear. Now, I recently discovered there is a mod which will turn the spiders into cardboard boxes, which is amazing, and I'll link it in the description below. However, we shouldn't have to install a mod just so we're not terrified whilst playing, and this is only available for PC. I therefore strongly think Avalanche should make an arachnophobia mode available for Hogwarts Legacy that you can select at the start of the game. One of the places I feel did not live up to its potential in Hogwarts Legacy was the common rooms. The Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, Gryffindor and Slytherin common rooms are all beautifully designed. The architecture and ambience in those rooms is very impressive and I think they really nailed each one. However, it's such a shame that we barely got to spend any time in there after our initial arrival at Hogwarts. We have the Daedalian Keys quest to get the house robes, but that's it. I wish there was more things to do in the common room, like playing mini games or even practicing spells on a dummy. An update that adds more features to the common rooms would be fantastic, but there could be DLC potential here too. Another issue many fans have with Hogwarts Legacy was that it didn't feel very lived in. An update that I think would really help with this would be having the ability to sit down. Being able to sit in an open world really does make a huge difference. Not only can you just stop and take it all in a bit better, but it would help you feel as though you really are there in that world because you can sit down just like you can in real life. Now with Hogwarts Legacy, it was a little disappointing to see that we couldn't sit or lie down in our common rooms, or more importantly, in the Great Hall. Being able to sit at your house table, listen to other NPCs and eat some food would be an amazing addition to the game, and it's an update I'm really hoping Avalanche will consider. Update number 9 that we need for Hogwarts Legacy is fixing the random loot. Now, the gear system in Hogwarts Legacy is pretty good in general. There's a lot of cool outfits you can play around with in the game, and the transmog system is excellent. The gear slots were annoying at the start as you have to grind out a lot of Merlin trials before you have decent space capacity. The main problem here is that the gear chests are completely randomised. That means you could spend 10 minutes in a difficult treasure vault only to get the most common piece of gear. After completing all of the collections in this game to get the trophy, it gets pretty frustrating after a while. Having the rarest and most valuable pieces of gear in the most difficult treasure vaults makes the most sense to me, and I hope it's an update that we see in the future. The final update we need for Hogwarts Legacy is more Hogwarts features. What I mean by this is more little things that we can do and interact with inside of Hogwarts besides the Revelio pages and puzzles. To make it really feel like we are a Hogwarts student, we should be able to do more things like play wizard's chess, sit down at a desk in the library and earn house points for the house cup. Even something like a notice board in the central hall that gives extra side quests or broom flight challenges would be really nice instead of having to go to the NPC or an area on the map. Little things like this would make it feel more like we are really a student at Hogwarts instead of an outsider who is only there for a little bit, then goes off and does their own thing in the Scottish Highlands. And that's 10 updates that we need to see for Hogwarts Legacy in 2023. Let me know in the comments below what updates you want to see for this game. Please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Thank you for watching, see you next time.